All right, boys and girls, 2019 is about to come to a close. This year at the box office, we had the highest grossing movie of all time in Avengers Endgame. We've also had quite a few duds as well. I wasn't a fan of Glass, Charlie's Angels, those kind of movies. But what movie is the most disappointing movie to me? I had to think about this. I thought about this. I was very disappointed with Glass, especially the ending. But overall, I'm a fan of the Unbreakable franchise, but I'm not a super fan or anything like that. So, with that being said, my most disappointing movie of 2019 is Terminator Dark Fate. It just is. And I know I shouldn't have had any expectations going into that movie, but when you have James Cameron's name attached to the movie and we find out he's coming back, I'm like, all right, he's writing a story. James Cameron, he's going to be invested in this. And we find out he was not really invested in the movie because he was overseas making Avatar. That was his primary focus this year when it came to Terminator Dark Fate. So he had little to do with the movie, but he did approve one big thing about this movie that got a lot of people very upset. He approved the killing of John Connor at the beginning of the movie. It was his idea. And mainly for that reason by itself, that makes Terminator Dark Fate my most disappointing movie of 2019. Now, for people that watch my channel know that I wasn't a fan of Rise of Skywalker, and I'm a huge, very huge Star Wars fan. But the thing about Rise of Skywalker, I've been saying since a couple of years now, there's nothing they can do to salvage the movie. So I had no expectations going into seeing the movie. And we got the worst Star Wars movie there ever was. Now, Terminator Dark Fate is way at the bottom as well. It can make a good case that movie is actually worse than Terminator Genesis. I'm struggling, but I'm going to put Genesis just a little bit worse. But if James Cameron wasn't involved in this movie, then I really wouldn't have had any expectations for the movie. But he came back, and of course the media was saying, oh, it's the best movie since Terminator 2. The previews, people seeing it. I was like, okay, let me try to get on board just a little bit. I hadn't really been excited about the marketing or anything like that. And I get into the movie theater and I'm like, what the hell is this? They kill off John Connor in the beginning of the movie. It retcons T1, T2. John Connor is no more. And they just put in Danny Ramos and Grace just for identity politics purposes. So they can just kill off John Connor to bring them in. We're in this strong female empowerment thing, which doesn't really seem to be working very well because they're not making good characters out of these women. I have no problem with women in starring roles. Think of this. The two most anticipated movies for next year are female-driven movies. Wonder Woman, Black Widow. I'm very excited to see both of those movies. But when it came to Terminator Dark Fate, Danny Ramos was a huge letdown. Danny Ramos cannot hold a candle to John Connor in the Terminator franchise. She just couldn't. She was a huge weak point of the movie. Also, I love Arnold Schwarzenegger. I love him as a T-800. But we also got the worst portrayal of the T-800 we've ever seen. Wasn't a fan of him having a family, him having a wife, a kid. It didn't work for me. If it worked for you, that's fine. But honestly, ever since Terminator 2 Judgment Day, the Terminator movies since then, they've gotten really mixed to bad reviews, even though I liked Terminator Salvation. I really did. Very underrated movie. But coming off of Genesis, I guess I just should have known better. I was just caught up in the hype of James Cameron. He's coming back. And then we get closer to the movie and we find out he's not really back at all. He was never on set. He helped out a little bit with the editing. And that was pretty much it. That was his role in the movie. James Cameron needed to be 100% involved in this movie for it to be any good. I just think he just didn't care about Terminator. And if he didn't care about Terminator, why would anyone expect the fan base to care about Terminator? I know that the media said, oh, it's a solid movie and everything like that, but it destroys the lore of Terminator, just like Rise of Skywalker destroyed the lore of Star Wars, that kind of thing. It was a disaster. It just was. I hope that they don't make any more Terminator movies anymore, even though I'm sure that they will, because it's with Skydance, and Skydance has made the 2 worst Terminator movies there is. Just stop making them. That's it. I don't want to have to go through this once again. Terminator is dead, and let it die. 2019 was not the year for Terminator. We were all fooled into thinking this is a comeback for Terminator. This is going to be a new trilogy. And it just didn't happen. They're not going to make any sequels to Dark Fate. It got woke. It was full of identity politics all over the place. And it was pretty obvious. They were not hiding it at all. But that's just my thoughts on this. What do you guys think of this? Was Terminator Dark Fate your most disappointing movie of 2019? And when I talk about my most disappointing movie, I'm talking about movies that I just saw in the movie theater. Like, for example, I didn't even go see Dark Phoenix. It looked terrible. I'm not a huge X-Men fan at all. Charlie's Angels, nowhere in the world I was going to go see that. So with that being said, Terminator Dark Fate was the movie I went and saw, and it was the movie I was most disappointed with. But that's just my thoughts on this. What do you guys think? Let me know what you guys think about all this in the comments. If you're new here to the channel, please hit subscribe to catch future videos from me, and we will catch you on the next video. John Matrixx, out.